across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
There you are, the weekend starts here, but not yet. You've got to get through this show first. So good evening and welcome to the Political Asylum right here on Talk. Stand by for 3 thrilling hours of news, views, topical debate. I'm your genial host, Kevin O'Sullivan, and I'll be with you all the way to 10 o'clock. It's your show too. So get involved, get on the phone and call me on 03444991000, or you can WhatsApp, voice note me on the same number, and I promise to play your message out. It is Friday, November the 7th. Here's what's coming up. A 100-year-old Second World War hero looks at broken Britain today and says that the sacrifice that he and his fallen friends who laid down their lives was not worth it. That the freedom they fought for has been lost. That the country they fought to save is no longer recognisable. Has there ever been a more powerful indictment of what successive governments, including this lousy Labour lot we're currently lumbered with, have done to the Britain we used to love? Alec Penstone, we salute you. What a man. In a devastating declaration on TV this morning, this seething centenarian summed up what so many of us are feeling today. What is happening to our disunited kingdom? 03444991000. And I'll tell you what Alec didn't fight for. A bitterly splintered nation wrought by woke tyranny in which pro-Palestine protesters demand that Jews are banned from an area of Birmingham where the population is 70% Islamic. Alec was prepared to die. Many of his friends, young men robbed of their lives, did die, fighting to defeat a disgusting Nazi regime based on genocidal anti-Semitism. That we now tolerate the Jew hatred that a courageous generation of brave Brits instinctively knew was an affront to decency, an offence against humanity, profoundly disrespects Alec and his courageous comrades. Tonight, I'll try to work out exactly what went on in Birmingham last night after Israeli football fans were banned from Maccabi Tel Aviv's away cup tie against Aston Villa. The pro-Palestine mob was much smaller than the promised 300,000, more like 1,000, and Birmingham was not, as the organisers vowed, brought to a standstill. But the atmosphere was sinister. 11 arrests were made, and the Israel supporters who gathered to make a stand were corralled into a cage that was dubbed the Jew Pen. I'll talk to one of the pro-Palestine organisers and also to a young Conservative member of Charlie Kirk's Turning Point movement, both of whom were arrested as tensions rose. What do you think we were witnessing in Birmingham's, Britain's second city last night? A kind of sectarian conflict in which Muslims demanded that they control an area who can and cannot enter their territory. Well, what do you think you saw? Because it did look as if what these protesters were saying were no Jews were allowed here. This is a Muslim area, and that can't be right, can it? I've got no objection to predominantly Muslim Islamic areas, but they can't go around saying, well, we can't have Jews here. So what do you think we were witnessing last night? 03444991000. And where was our dear leader Tutir Kir as these shocking scenes unfolded? Where was our Prime Minister as a massive new poll revealed that the people of this benighted nation have never felt more divided, never more unhappy, and never less proud of their country? He was swanning around in Brazil with that madman, crazy Ed Miliband, and the 470, count them, 470 UK delegates wasting £4 million of taxpayers' money at that grotesque festival of rank global hypocrisy. 50,000 people there altogether. flying in from all over the world. COP30, give me a break. Ludicrous London Mayor Sadiq Khan was there, and so was a former Coronation Street star whose new role is Mayor of West Yorkshire. I'd hazard a guess that Alec didn't fight for Britain so that in the future half of Westminster could fly 5,000 miles to attend an obscene carnival of climate change claptrap. 0344 499 1000. In other news, Barmy Zach Polanski's Green Party is now producing posters in Arabic, and after Zaini Zoran Mamdani was elected the communist mayor of New York, we can now look forward to more and more left-wing extremists winning power in cities all over the world, including here, of course, voted in by immigrants and recent residents with not much money. That's why Zach's printing up posters in Arabic. You have been warned. 0344 499 1000. All that and so much more. So don't go anywhere. Stick with me right here, right now on Talk, the home of free speech and common sense. Let's spend Friday night together. And with me, it's been a while, but my Friday friend Pete Barnes, political strategist, is with me. And we're going to kick off by reminding ourselves, let's have a look at what Alec Penstone, that 100-year-old war hero, said on Good Morning Britain on ITV this morning. Have a look.
My message is, I can see in my mind's eye those rows and rows of white stones of all the hundreds of my friends and everybody else that gave their lives for what? The country of today. No, I'm sorry. The sacrifice wasn't worth the result that it is now.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
What do you mean by that, though? At this point?
What we fought for, and what we fought for was our freedom. We find that even now it's darn sight worse than what it was when I fought for it.
Extraordinary, extraordinary. I just want to say a quick thing. You know, Kate Garraway and Adil Ray there, patronising that guy, Alec Penstone, as if he's some sort of child. Oh, I'm sorry you didn't feel that it was worth it. He's 100 years old. I hate it when people treat old people as if they're children. But what a powerful statement. What a powerful indictment of this country. I've never seen anything like it. Television, folks, every now and again can still produce extraordinary moments, and that was one such extraordinary moment. Astonishing, astonishing. And all these woke warriors, all these politicians, all these tyrants who tell us what we can and cannot say. You can't say that, you can't do that. They should all hang their heads in shame. This nonsense was not what Alec and his brave comrades fought for. 0344 499 1000. We'll revisit that story later. In the meantime, let's revisit what happened in Birmingham last night. It wasn't as big a demonstration as we expected, as I said in my monologue. Just to recap, Maccabi Tel Aviv, the football team, were playing Aston Villa in Birmingham in the Europa League Cup. Controversially, Maccabi Tel Aviv fans have been banned from that match because West Midland Police said they couldn't guarantee their safety, but pro-Palestine protesters gathered outside the ground to make their stand. They were saying that Israeli teams shouldn't be allowed to participate in any sport anywhere in the world. So quite an event. Some brave kind of Israeli supporters also turned up there to make their stand. There were 700 police there. We think something like a thousand protesters were there, and despite the fact it wasn't such a big protest, there were 11 arrests. There was some quite tense scenes, lots of clashes. So I thought, first of all, he was kind enough to come onto my show earlier in the week. He's one of the organisers of the pro-Palestine march. He's a lawyer, and his name is Ahmed Yaqub. Ahmed, thank you very much for rejoining us, as it were.
Good evening, Kevin. Thank you for having me.
A pleasure to have you on the show again. Now, listen, the first thing I wanted to say to you is, you know, there was talk of 300,000 people gathering outside the ground last night. A lot of people said, well, you'd be lucky there were 300 there. That's not fair. I think it was nearer about 1,000. So 700 cops to monitor 1,000 protesters was quite a lot. Were you disappointed with the turnout?
I mean, I wasn't disappointed with the turnout. It was a weekday, you see. People were at work. A lot of people were probably coming back from school runs and stuff like that. So what I was happy with more than anything, and I would like to congratulate and thank the West Midlands Police and everyone who was involved in organising this event, that the event was a very peaceful event. Yes, you did mention there were 11 arrests and few on either side, but that happens in a lot of protests and events. But other than that, it was a very peaceful event, and I thank the West Midlands Police for not only looking after the protesters, and they wasn't just there, like you just said, to look after the protesters and look after us. They were there to make sure that the football fans were safe, to make sure the other side who were protesting were safe as well. So they were ensuring safety all around.
Okay, but I think, yeah, generally speaking, I mean, it wasn't all peaceful, but I think you should all be commended for a reasonably peaceful protest last night. You did say you wanted it to be peaceful, and it wasn't too bad, I would say. I thought there was a fairly tense atmosphere. Some Israeli fans, supporters did turn up, and they were put into this kind of cage, which was...
It wasn't put into a cage, and I think...
Well, no, they were. They didn't object, Ahmed. They knew that was for their own safety, but it was nicknamed the Jew pen. Can I just show you a little footage here of an Israeli fan getting shouted at? Let's have a look at this.
What I've been told you about Maccabi Tel Aviv is completely a lie. Maccabi Tel Aviv has Arab and Jewish fans.
Genocidal baby killer! Genocidal baby killer!
Arab players. Maccabi Tel Aviv has also Jewish players playing together. This guy is an absolute useful idiot, a terror supporter that does not understand anything about my country, my team, and my society. We're here for a simple reason, not to antagonize, not to do any violent actions. All our mission is very simple. Stand here clearly and say, stop the hate, don't be...
Do you think that guy is a football fan? He's a Maccabi Tel Aviv fan, Ahmed. Do you think he's a genocidal baby killer?
He's just called the other guy a useful idiot.
No, but do you think that...
How can you call someone a useful idiot?
Why would that guy call him a genocidal baby killer? He's just a football fan.
He supports the state of Israel, and Israel is a barbaric genocidal regime and apartheid.
You think that Israelis are genocidal baby killers?
Well, anybody who supports Israel...
Do you think they're genocidal baby killers?
They are being complicit in the genocide, aren't they?
But you're not going to get involved in that trope that Jewish people are baby killers, are you?
Well, not all Jewish people are baby killers, but the state of Israel have killed over 40,000 babies. And you can't deny that fact.
Would you say that Hamas have killed any babies?
Well,
they have, haven't they? They have. It's war, Ahmed. It's war. Listen, I've got an idea. Now, you said that there may be... No. Let's continue. We're having a nice conversation. I'm just trying to report on last night. I've got an idea why you were hoping for 300,000, but not that many people turned up. I think it could have been because of this.
I am, and have always been, a traitor.
It's the final of Traitors. You know, something like 12, 13 million people watched it. So I reckon that loads of people in Birmingham...
I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah, well, that's the final of Traitors. And I'll tell you, that's the most watched television programme in Britain. And I'll tell you, a lot of the people that you hoped might have joined you, I bet you they were watching that.
I don't watch TV. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, well, I bet you a lot of your friends that you hoped would be there were watching it because everybody loves traitors, and that includes the Islamic community and all the other communities. So
I'm sure they do, but I don't know what it is.
I'm just saying, Ahmed, I'm just saying. That's my theory as to why not many people turned up.
Well, that's your theory. That's your theory.
Yeah,
you could have believed that it's a weekday, isn't it?
I'm just offering you a theory. I'm just offering you a theory.
The roads were blocked.
Listen,
traffic control.
Yeah. Fair enough. What do you make of this? This is some of the Palestinian supporters chanting. Have a look at this.
Okay.
Every match that the barbaric Israeli establishment or their teams are at, we will be at. Takbir! Allahu Akbar!
Now, I couldn't hear.
Well, they're shouting out Allahu Akbar, talking about the barbaric Israel regime, and is that okay with you? That, I mean, that doesn't look like a scene out of Britain. I mean, surrounded by Palestine flags, Pakistan flags, no unit. Is that okay with you? Do you mind that in the middle of Britain?
Kevin, this is or was a Palestine protest. So what did you expect to see? Israeli flags. Okay. Of course, you're going to see Palestinian flags.
Okay. Now, also, you said to me the other night that it's actually sacred to Muslims that they cannot be anti-Semitic. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I said that. Yeah.
Well, this is you. Have a look at this.
Can you get all the brothers who are standing over there? You need to come here. The police are not going to let you go there. You need to come here, stand together, stand united. Death, death! Loud as we can, guys. If you really mean it, if you really feel it, death, death!
Well, that's you chanting "death, death" to the IDF. Don't you think that's a bit?
I couldn't hear it.
Well, it's you chanting. I'm sorry you can't hear it, but it's you chanting "death," leading the chants "death, death" to the IDF. Don't you think that's anti-Semitic?
No, that's not anti-Semitic.
It's not anti-Semitic to shout "death, death."
Let me explain that chant.
All right, no, okay, Ahmed, you're here to explain. You're here to explain.
Let me explain that to me, and don't interrupt me as a gentleman, yeah?
Of course, no, I'm waiting to hear your excuse.
It's not an excuse.
Yes, it is.
Exactly what I mean. I stand by what I say and stand firm. But if I go and chant something, I will stand firm by it in your show, and I promise that.
Okay, so why did you? What is your justification for chanting "death, death" to the IDF?
Death, death, death to the IDF. We mean that we will dismantle the IDF. We do not wish death on any individual. It's the organization. We call it the Israeli occupation force. It's not the Israeli Defense Force. It can be the Israeli diaper force as well. We cannot call it the Israeli Defense Force because nothing about them is defensive. So when we say death, death to the IDF, it means we want death to the IDF as an organization.
You're a lawyer. You're a lawyer, Ahmed.
We want
Ahmed.
We want to dismantle.
I got that. You said that. I've got that. You're a lawyer. You're a lawyer. Ahmed, let me say something. You're a lawyer. You're a lawyer.
You're interrupting me again.
No. I let you explain about the IDF, and now you've got to.
You didn't let me finish.
You did. Let me.
Like my answer.
You're a lawyer. You're a lawyer.
Yes.
You will know then, Ahmed, that chanting, that shout. Come on, let me say.
Anti-Semitism.
No. I didn't say that. I said, as a lawyer, you will know that shouting "death, death" to the IDF is against the law. That is an incitement to violence. No, if that is against the law, you broke the law as a lawyer. You know that. You cannot incite violence in public like that.
I stand firm by that. It's not against the law. There's nothing against the law there.
Why is it not against the law to incite violence like that?
I'm not inciting violence like I...
You said death, death to the IDF. Death is a bit violent, isn't it?
Just like I explained to you that what we mean by that chant is we want to dismantle the IDF as an organization, just like we want to dismantle.
Why didn't you chant dismantle the IDF then?
We want to dismantle the IDF.
No, but you chanted death to the IDF.
Not just dismantle them. We want them to be, after dismantling them, be tried for
Then you want to kill them.
Be tried for war crimes and genocide.
No, you said death to the IDF.
If they are tried for war crimes...
What does death mean to you? Dismantle.
For war crimes, that's what we want to do, dismantle them.
Yeah, but you broke the law last night. You broke the law last night.
That will be the death of the IDF as an organization. I did not break any law.
Look, listen, I wouldn't do this to you, Ahmed, because bizarrely, I rather like you. I don't know why.
I like you too.
I enjoy our conversations, but if I reported you to the police, they'd come round and arrest you.
You can do, and
I'm not going to do that, mate. I'm not going to do it. But if I did, they would arrest you because it is illegal to shout to a crowd, death, death to the IDF, because that is breaking the law that is incitement to violence. You broke the law.
No, we did not.
You did. I've just told you the facts.
Your opinion, there is.
It's not an opinion. It's not an opinion. You cannot incite violence.
Are you a judge, Kevin?
Huh? Yeah, in the future I will be. all right.
Maybe if you're a judge, you'll say I would be inciting violence. You can say that, yeah, in your opinion.
Yeah. Well, if I was a judge and it was put before me that you stood there in front of a sizable crowd and shouted "death, death to the IDF," and you were charged with inciting violence, as a judge, I would say, well, calling for the death of fellow human beings is rather an incitement to violence. That's a logical conclusion, isn't it?
That's not a logical conclusion.
It's an illogical conclusion.
That's your opinion. I've explained my position to you.
Well, can we just? I can't. Just one more sort of area to discuss, really. This what we talked about the other night. You and your friends have a right to protest, of course. We all do in this free country. But what I would suggest to you, as I said to you the other day, there is no basis. Although you have every right to say, we want Israel banned, Israeli football teams, clubs, sports clubs, banned from all competitions around the world. You have every right to demand that, to want that. But you do understand that there is no legal justification for banning Israel. Israel has not committed genocide. It has not broken any war crime laws. So therefore, although you want that, there is no legal justification for a global ban on Israeli sports teams competing in international competitions. You understand that?
I believe there shouldn't be double standards.
Yeah, that's fine. You can believe it, but you do understand there's no basis for it except for your desire for Israel not to compete in international sports competitions.
It's not my desire.
Well, you do. You want that, don't you?
It's not just my desire. That's what I'm trying to say.
There's a lot of people want it, but there's no justification.
It's the desire of millions of others across the globe.
No, well, that's the consensus. That doesn't matter.
And I'm not just making things up.
FIFA, UEFA, the Olympic Committee, they've got no legal reason to ban Israel. Do you understand that?
They do have a reason.
No, they don't have a legal reason.
If you let me talk, I'll explain to you.
Emotional, maybe, but they don't have a legal reason.
Exactly same way that Russia are banned from FIFA competition, from UEFA competition. But the same way that South Africa were banned because of the apartheid regime is exactly.
But Russia's broken international law, and so did South Africa during the apartheid days. They were breaking international law.
You read the report from the International Criminal Court that they.
Yeah. We talked about this the other. That is not legally enshrined.
And then you're not worried about the International Criminal Court, what they're saying, that there is evidence of plausible genocide.
But legally, it is not. Legally, this is a fact. Israel has not committed genocide and has not committed war crimes. Therefore, Israel cannot be banned from international sports competitions. If they broke into international law, if they committed war crimes or genocide, then they can. But they haven't, so they can't. Do you see that?
Aren't Israel before the International Criminal Court for genocide? Hasn't South Africa taken them to court for genocide?
Yeah, and they failed.
They're still at the court. They've not failed.
Yeah, but well, they have, because it's
There's
not
a plausible genocide if Netanyahu goes into countries or nations.
That's not. He hasn't broken any laws. Do you understand that? You're a lawyer. He hasn't broken any laws.
He will be arrested if he goes into the remit of the countries that follow the International Criminal Court.
Okay, listen, Ahmed, we're going to go around the houses. I'm going to go round and round in circles here. But let me just ask you a last question, if I can. I mean,
and I'll answer it. Just let me answer it. Let me
my question is this: you must have, when you hoped for 300,000 people to turn up last night, when you hoped to bring, as you said, Birmingham to a standstill, you must have been disappointed that fewer than 1,000 turned up. You must have been very disappointed by that.
I didn't know the exact number that turned up.
Well, if you said you wanted 300,000, less than 1,000.
Why bring me onto a show? Not let me talk.
Okay, go on.
Okay. There was no disappointment from my part, Kevin, because the first objective was already achieved with the violent, fascist Maccabi Tel Aviv fans not turning up. Those fans who shouted death to the Arabs. You've got a problem with me shouting death to the IDF, but then Maccabi Tel Aviv fans were shouting death to Arabs.
Well, I would condemn that as well.
Half of a goal was achieved anyway.
So you think you're just as bad as them then?
Half of a goal was
Well, you're just as bad as them. You're just
half of our goal was achieved anyway. Then our main goal, the second goal was to raise awareness, which we did. The third goal was to remain peaceful, which it
largely was. I'll give you that. There were 11 arrests. I think you got arrested at one point, didn't you?
I was going to be arrested, yeah.
Yeah. But listen, but you weren't charged. Let's make that clear.
I'll tell you what happened with my.
Go on very quickly because we've got to move on. But go on,
my arrest or my detention. So what happened is we were stopped. Well, police vans drove past, and we just waved at them and said, "Thank you, officers." They stopped. They spoke to us, and then they said, under Section 60, we are going to search you. We said, no problem.
Yeah.
They searched us. And then they said, you have to disperse. I said, show me the dispersal notice. And upon that, the officers didn't know who I was. They were from Lancashire. They just basically almost assaulted me, and they were just about to carry me into the police van. Had to stop them. I told them they have no right to do that. They showed me the dispersal notice. And I left, and then they left.
Okay. Well, I've seen some footage of that, so I'm glad you didn't get fully or charged or anything like that. Listen, Ahmed, it was good to talk to you, and thank you for coming on. And we'll talk again. Seriously, nice to speak. Take care now. That was Pete. That was Ahmed Yaqub.
That was
Ahmed Yaqub. He was the lawyer.
The Manchester one.
Briefly represented the Manchester cop beaters. I can't imagine why they got rid of him.
It's beyond my imaginations. I have no idea. The guy who didn't understand what useful idiot meant, considering he is one. That's the funniest thing, you know. I've come across this guy. He was on when Samara hosted last week, and I was like, people are taking this guy like he's some kind of instigator. He's not. I'm treating him somewhat of a war criminal, a war profiteer. In other words, he's operating in a situation that he doesn't understand, trying to make a name for himself, and he's piggybacking on the back of it. And I think that's how you got to deal with people like that. I don't think he's some big ideologue. I think he's just somewhat, like I say, of a useful idiot by much more smarter people that are using him to agitate.
Yeah.
And I think that's the danger.
Yeah,
we don't go the next rung up the ladder to find out where the money's coming from and all the rest of it.
I know I shouldn't. But there's something about him I can't help liking.
I know exactly what you mean.
He's such a grifter, isn't he?
And there's something about that kind of, he just sticks to it. You're going to admire that, really, aren't you?
Death to the IDF. Well, what we meant was dismantle. What'd you say death for then? Listen, we better go to break. We'll come back in a minute.
Big news coming this December. Our talkTV app is moving to the Talk app. You can watch, catch up and listen to all your favourite shows and podcasts anytime, anywhere, all on the Talk app. From Monday, 1st of December, the talkTV app will no longer exist, so don't miss out. So head over to your App Store or Google Play and search Talk now.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Well, earlier we were talking about that remarkable centenarian, the 100-year-old war hero Alec Penstone, who incredibly powerfully said on Good Morning Britain this morning that his sacrifice, all of his friends, he talked, that's haunting, isn't it, when he said, I think of all those white headstones of my friends who died, who laid down their lives. Was it worth it? No, it wasn't worth it. Not for the freedom we've lost today, that there was more freedom than there is now. Very, very powerful. He looks around Britain now and does not like what he sees. Why did they do that? What did they fight for? And as I said, they didn't fight for what we saw in Birmingham last night, a kind of sectarian war where Muslims, Islamic protesters basically said, this is our territory. 70% of the population around Aston are Islamic. I don't have a problem with that. We have a multicultural society. I do have a problem when they start saying Jews aren't allowed in here. Then I have a problem. And that's what we saw last night. And Alec did not fight for that. And Alec and his colleagues his comrades risked their lives. Many of them laid down their lives to fight a genocidal anti-Semite, Adolf Hitler, and his genocidal anti-Semitic country then, Germany. That's what that was all about. So he didn't fight for that. And I'll tell you another thing he didn't fight for. He didn't fight for COP30. You know, for all these idiot politicians, 50,000 idiots from all over the world descending on Belém in northern Brazil on the banks of the Amazon to talk about change, saving the planet and climate change. All of them flying in first class on private jets, big jets, passenger jets. You know, it's just disgusting. A festival, a disgusting carnival of hypocrisy. We have to put up with this obscenity every single damn year. And of course, Keir Starmer's there, crazy Ed Miliband. 470 British delegates flew to South America to attend that massive, great waste of time. Great big jolly. That's going to cost us £4 million, taxpayers, to fund these people, their hotels, their air flights, their meals, etc., etc., their drinks. £4 million, and also that is the equivalent. Their carbon emissions, and we worked this out some weeks ago, their carbon emissions will add up to the equivalent of driving a petrol-powered car for 48.5 million miles, or 7.8 million kilometres if you prefer it in that form, or similar, flying to Paris and back 23,000 times. Those are the carbon emissions that just the British contingent, 470. I don't know about you, I just think that's just revolting. And these cops never, ever achieve anything. They're a complete waste of time, preening politicians, vacuous virtue signallers, hypocritical tycoons. It's just an appalling spectacle. Here's Keir Starmer, the kid who loves to get on aeroplanes, loves to fly, doesn't he? Of course, he's there in the jungle. Here he is telling us, or pretending that COP30 matters.
Today is the first day of COP, and the UK is really stepping up here. I'm here as Prime Minister, we've got the Prince of Wales here, and what we're determined to show is that climate change is for real, it impacts all of us. You may remember the flooding in Sussex that we had this year, also the wildfires in Scotland. So it impacts us all, we've got to act, we've got to show leadership. But also it's a huge opportunity. We already have 400,000 jobs in the green economy, green jobs, whether that's energy or elsewhere. There's another 400 to go, and I've been announcing jobs in Great Yarmouth, in Belfast and Manchester here today. So stepping up to the challenge, taking the opportunities.
Absolute garbage, absolute garbage. This nut zero nonsense is ruining our economy. Crazy Ed Miliband, our nut zero secretary, is the most dangerous man in Britain. Talking of which, here's the second most dangerous man, or the most dangerous man in London. He's that pipsqueak mayor, Sadiq Khan. Of course, he's there. Take it away, Sad.
Yvonne, what's going on in London? Why are you all the way here in Rio? There's a couple of prisoners that have escaped from Wandsworth Prison. Are you in the right place, or should you be back at home?
We've seen in London on a daily basis the consequences of air pollution, consequences of excess heat causing premature deaths, consequences of our over-reliance on fossil fuel. We're turning that crisis into an opportunity. We're just dealing with the issue of air pollution with the world's first and largest ultra emission zone. But also creating a good green job.
God, what's he doing there? What's he talking? This is rubbish. He's talking absolute rubbish. They're just on a jolly, and all this climate change, clean air nonsense in London. It's not saving any lives. It's nothing to do with. It's just nonsense. Nonsense. I don't know how long we're supposed to put up with this. This COP30, Pete, just enrages me, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I always say that. Isn't it funny that Panto season gets earlier and earlier every year? Because that's what it is. It's pantomime. It's theatre. It's politics. It's theatre. It's leadership. It's theatre. It's all a show. It's no real substance. Most of what happens at COP is actually delayed by the lobbyists that go to slow it down to make sure it doesn't actually achieve anything. It is nothing more than a kind of hand-holding ritual of reassurance to the people there that they're actually trying to do something. It's just pathetic.
Well, they're clinging on to this idea that all this money, all this politics, all this effort revolving around this kind of green claptrap net zero fantasy is somehow or other really worth it. This 50,000 people descending on this. By the way, they chopped down half the Amazon forest to build a 4-lane highway from Belém Airport so that these people could get to the conference centre easily and avoid all the traffic. They chopped down thousands and thousands of acres of Amazon rainforest so that they could build a road so that all these delegates could drive in their petrol and diesel limousines from Belém Airport, into which many of them had flown in private jets so they could get to the conference centre. It's disgusting. It's a disgusting spectacle. Preceding the main COP30 nonsense, not much COP30. We have one of these every year, of course. Last year it was in Azerbaijan, one of the greatest oil-producing countries in the world.
That's the great irony. The nation that's leading the Green Revolution is China. That's the funniest bit about it all.
Yeah. Anyway. So Sadiq Khan's part of this thing called, it's the mayor thing. There's something called the C40 World Mayors Summit. So loads of mayors swan their way there. And one of the mayors, apart from little pipsqueak Sadiq Khan, is the mayor of West Yorkshire. And her name is Tracy Brabin.
Yes.
Tracy Brabin was an actress. She's there. To be fair, she says, I haven't used public funds to get here. She's been sponsored by a private company.
That's even more concerning.
Bloomberg, I think it is. But still, what's she doing there? She said it's very important. Climate change and the cost of living. A green economy will save West Yorkshire so much money and make it. Oh, rubbish! Shut up. Go back to Coronation Street, will you? She used to be in Coronation. She's a soap star. She's been in EastEnders, Emmerdale, and Coronation Street. In Coronation Street, she played single mum Tricia Armstrong from about 1994 to 1997. She was also, as I say, Roxy Drake in EastEnders, and she played Vicar's girlfriend Carol in Emmerdale. I remember that. I remember her in Emmerdale because I was a TV critic then. But anyway, this is the Mayor of West Yorkshire during her Coronation Street days as single mum Tricia Armstrong.
Soldier Tricia, love, that takes up all now, eh?
Here, what's going on? It's the foreigner. Alf.
Hey? It's okay, I'll go.
You will not. Coming over here, taking our jobs. My son's created jobs, lady.
Leave it, Mum, she's drunk.
Yeah, I am drunk. And I'm a single mum. You come home and tell my lad we're back on the streets. Baldwin's my landlord and all, you know.
Do you want me to... If you will, Come on, darling. It's time to go.
Darling me. Get your hands off me. You didn't want to come near me before.
Hey, and she wonders why.
That's the Mayor of West Yorkshire. I should stress that's an acting role. I'm sure those aren't her political opinions, but quite funny, really.
That's very funny.
If you think about it.
That's so funny. Do you know when they always say there's always a tweet? Well, I suppose for her there's always a character that you play.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
But do you know, it's people like her that are just really the problem, aren't they? Because they don't understand anything they're talking about. They're given these incredible budgets, amazing amount of power, and they just don't know what they're doing with it. And then they hop on these kind of bandwagons because they think they're popular, and actually they're just making everything worse.
It's an obscenity. It's grotesque. It's just hypocrisy. How can you fly halfway round the world on an air-polluting jet, get into a big old limo, go along a 4-lane highway that destroyed thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of rainforest, and then sit around at a conference centre drinking and eating, saying we're saving the planet? It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Let's go to break, and then when we come back, I think we'll talk about, the Green Party got an interesting new set of posters they're putting up. They're in Arabic. We'll talk about that next.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Just quickly, Pete, let's have a look at this. On the Edgware Road in London earlier today, posters arrived and they were put up, or like placards, billboards, what do you call them? Anyway, they were for the Green Party, Zach Palazzi's Green Party. There were two of them. Have a look. One was in English and the other was in Arabic. Oh. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Now, this is a syndrome you're going to see more and more and more. Unfortunately, Zach Palazzi, I can't stand everything he stands for, but he's a good performer. Yeah. He's very good at rallying the far left.
Incredibly good.
And appealing to those, shall we say, who are on the less privileged side of society, people without money. Now, as we just saw in New York with Zoran Mamdani, Mamdani won that election with votes from recent residents of New York, most of whom were immigrants. If you saw his acceptance speech, it was he was roaring, "This is for immigrants, this is a victory for immigrants, this is a city of immigrants." And more and more and more, we're going to see this all over the world. And we're going to see it here a lot with Polanski. While the national elections will tell a different story, possibly a polar opposite story, the cities are going to go more. I mean, we've sort of got it with Sadiq Khan already. Other cities are going to go this way, just like New York, because people like Zach Palazzi are going to put up Arabic, Urdu posters, all of this sort of thing, in order to get mostly recent residents, immigrant residents, those who don't have much money. Now, there are millions of them, particularly in somewhere like London, and they usually outnumber the well-off, the wealthy, the comfortable. So you're going to get these great capitalist centres like New York and London with mayors who are sort of left of Lenin, communist mayors. Mamdani is a communist. Sadiq Khan isn't much better. And what this is about, this is devolution. There's a problem with devolution. We may have devolved too far. So these people are going to become tin pot tyrants in more and more mayors, cities all over the world, but particularly in Britain. It's going to be a very divided kind of country, possibly with a Reform UK or even a Tory government. I've got to say that because you're here. Reform UK government and all these left-wing cities. It's going to be strange.
Well, we already really have that anyway, but this was always the idea behind devolution. It's not really an accident of it. It was the purpose of it. It was to actually devolve power as much away from national governments as they could, and then you could keep like their own people in power, even if they lost national elections. That was always the plan. Everybody knew what they were doing. Why everybody went along with this, like particularly from the right, I don't understand. But I will say that this parties like the Tories and the Lib Dems, well, probably really just the Tories, have actually let down cities and let down like the voters there, because they've never really had a good ground game in these kind of city elections and the regional. But
the problem though with the Tories and Reform and all those kind of parties is it's they're not good at appealing to the people we're talking about. Immigrants, people without any money. You know, the thing about London, for example, is it's a city full of billionaires and millionaires and fabulous houses, and it is. But the majority of people who live in London haven't got two halfpennies to rub together, and that's why Sadiq Khan keeps going on. Going forward, folks, this is going to be the picture of what you see around the world. It's happening in America, and it's going to happen here.
France, Germany, Sweden.
Let me know what you think about the Green Party now producing posters both in English and in Arabic. 03444991000. We're going to go to break now. When we come back, we will return to our hero, a real hero, Alec Penthouse, the man who appeared on Good Morning Britain this morning, the 100-year-old war hero who said the sacrifice that he and his friends made was not worth it because the freedom they fought for has been crushed. We'll return to Alec next.
Big news coming this December. Our talkTV app is moving to the Talk app. You can watch, catch up and listen to all your favourite shows and podcasts anytime, anywhere, all on the Talk app. From Monday, 1st of December, the talkTV app will no longer exist, so don't miss out. So head over to your App Store or Google Play and search Talk now.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Well, we've just got a couple of minutes before we get to the top of the hour, but let's remind ourselves of that remarkable 100-year-old guy, Alec, who appeared on GMB this morning. Here he goes.
My message is, I can see in my mind's eye there was rows and rows of white stones of all the hundreds of my friends and everybody else that gave their lives for what? The country of today. No, I'm sorry. The sacrifice wasn't worth the result that it is now.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
What do you mean by that, though?
What we fought for, what we fought for was our freedom. We find that even now it's darn sight worse than what it was when I fought for it.
Unbelievable. And don't treat him like a child. Don't treat him like a child. Seriously, just quickly, I've had my say. I mean, this is a massive indictment of what these governments have done to this country.
Oh, without a doubt. I've written an article about this for Hinton magazine. I do a lot of pieces for them now, and in it I talk about kind of it's 2 minutes of maturity, because we actually stay quiet for a minute, and we live in an age of competitive empathy. Everybody has to be the biggest and the best and all this kind of stuff. We actually forgot that the point of the remembrance is to pay the debt that we owe to these people. We don't look after our veterans properly. We consistently let them down at every turn.
What about the fact that you know, he just now feels that the whole thing wasn't worth it?
I don't blame him for it.
It's just so shocking, isn't it?
If you think about it, his friends, you know, that generation sacrificed everything to stop Nazi flags flying in London. We have them every Saturday.
His disappointment is just crushing. And as I said, I think every Prime Minister in recent times, particularly for the last 15 years or so, should hang their heads in shame about what they've done to this country. A remarkable old man like that looks at what he fought for and said, it wasn't worth it. What you've done to the country, it wasn't worth it. Next up, we're going to be joined by a guy called Young Bob. Stick around.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Welcome back. This is the Political Asylum. It's Friday, November the 7th. I'm still with my Friday friend, political strategist Pete Barnes. And I got a lot of messages. We were talking about what happened in Birmingham last night. Here's one of the messages, the text I've been sent. This is from Jeff in Warrington. He said, hi, Kev. One of those arrested in Birmingham last night was young Bob. If we had more 17, 18-year-olds like Thomas, that's his real name, instead of your masked thugs all dressed in black, we would have some hope for the future of the country. Well, thank you for that, Jeff. And by a remarkable coincidence, guess who's in the studio? It's young Bob, otherwise known as Thomas Moffat. Welcome to the studio.
Hi, how you doing?
Now, you were in, thanks for joining us. Now, you were in Birmingham last night, outside Aston Villa, outside Villa Park, watching that sort of demonstration going on. You're kind of reporting on it. You're a member of the sort of UK branch of Charlie Kirk's Turning Point movement, am I right?
Yeah, so I was once the youth ambassador for Turning Point UK, doing campus activism on the ground. I also do independent journalism, kind of disseminating information of protests to the general public. So I do a bit of both public speaking and also journalism.
So you're Britain's answer to Charlie Kirk?
Well, I think it would be a shame to tell a grieving widow that I am like the rehashing of a dead man. I don't think we can kind of fill the shoes
Britain's
of Charlie
answer?
Kirk.
No.
Yeah,
I think it's fair to say. You're a leading figure. You're a leading figure. Let's leave it at that then. Now, so Jeff, I hope you're happy. We've got young Bob in the studio. Thanks again for coming in, Thomas. Tell us, you got arrested last night. You were up there talking, recording, filming, trying to get a sense of what was going on, as you said, sort of independent reporting. You got arrested, not charged. How did that happen? Tell us that.
Yeah, so I always like recording the sectarian violence, especially Birmingham. The independent candidate for Ladywood was there, of course, the main organiser for the event, and he received the second most of votes at the last general election.
Right.
So it's, of course, interesting to see the dynamics between the Muslim community and politics kind of play out. So reporting there, it's incredibly versatile, there's an incredibly airy atmosphere, immediately engaging with these people, just posing questions. I was threatened. A gentleman said that I would be killed if I continued my presence there. So the police tried to argue that my presence here as a journalist is somehow breaching the peace. However, the people assaulting me and threatening me weren't.
Just looking at you now, have we got sound on this at all? Can we have a let's put some sound on it. So this is what happened to Thomas last night.
Saying that Christ is my God, but I equally do it, 1 second, to the Muslims that say and reject the sonhood of Christ.
It's getting dangerous now. Can you leave there? You're going to prevent. We need to prevent a breach of the peace.
Yeah,
you're winding people up, so go that way.
I'm not going to wind them up. In fact, they invited me to a discussion.
So, if I understand that situation right, Thomas, you were sort of outlining the sort of Christian ideas, and there was a Muslim guy there not agreeing with what you said, and yet the copper came up and said, you're the one who are making the situation dangerous. A bit of two-tier policing there. Get the Christian, never mind the Muslim. Did you deduce that that was kind of the situation?
Yeah, so the Sheikh actually invited me on stage to discuss. I never really come here with a religious element. However, I spent 2 years at Speaker's Corner kind of engaging in that sort of topic.
Yeah.
So when he invited me on stage, I don't think that's breaching the peace. That's a consensual discussion.
Yeah.
So him kicking off or other people kicking off is not my problem.
Right, yeah, but it's interesting. There you are. I mean, it looked like it looked like a what should we say, a lively debate, but didn't look dangerous to me. But you're talking about, you know, Christ and the Christian ethos, and the copper doesn't say to the Muslim guy, you know, he's talking about Muhammad and all that. He doesn't say to the Muslim guy, this is getting dangerous. He says it to you. He says it to you, to the Christian. Did you find that surprising?
Policing now here in the UK is a numbers game, essentially trying to outline whether people can actually be policed and dictating it on the people that actually can. So that's the two-tier justice system. The fact is that the police are scared to engage in certain groups of people because the response that they have is too shameful. So the police need to realise now that it's no longer a numbers game, it's justice. If I commit a crime, deal with me. If he's committing a crime, deal with him. If he has a community backing, doesn't matter about the response. If he can't be there, remove him.
How old are you?
17.
That's incredible. I've just had more common sense from you than having a professional politician in over 10 years.
Yeah. I'm feeling like a really thick old guy now. No, well said, well said. And tell us a bit more about what you saw last night. What was your impression of what was going on? My impression was this. My feeling about what's happening in Birmingham and other cities. You're in Aston, an area of Birmingham that has a 70% population of Islamic people and Muslims. Personally, I don't have a problem with that. We have a multicultural society. What I do have a problem with is that certain elements of that community last night decided this is our territory, this is our area, and Jewish people are not allowed in here. That was my sense of the undercurrent going on last night, and that's why I objected to what was happening. Would that chime with what you thought?
Yeah, so my sort of overview of these areas is that integration can't take place if you have a high majority of a foreign population, because they don't have this sort of template of what it means to be British to kind of tether to. So, for example, integration kind of takes place when you understand what the community is. So, of course...
Well, you make an effort.
Yeah, of course. So when you look at Aston, it's kind of to be expected, but the fact is that the police kind of laid in with the fact that they were supporting an ongoing protest that started hours before it's even listed. There's something called a Section 12 of the Public Order Act, which actually states that you must stick to the timings of a demonstration. It's commonly used within a lot of the patriotic marches here in the UK. So why aren't these legislations being pushed upon these natures of demonstrations? I mean, Palestinian marches, there have been flash ones down Whitehall, which are extremely illegal. There have been ones for Palestine Action, which is a prescribed terrorist organisation. It seems like uncovering the theme of Palestine, the police are too scared to enact the same legislation levied against British protesters.
Well, the backdrop to what happened last night was, of course, in my view, an act of cowardice, an act of political favouritism by the West Midlands police, who said, well, we can't guarantee the safety of these Israeli fans, the fans of Maccabi Tel Aviv, if they come to watch their team play Aston Villa. Now, this was in response to a petition by the local MP, a Muslim, one of these MPs for Gaza, to be honest with you. But technically, he's an independent MP for Perry Barr. Jeremy Corbyn helped get that petition together. Make of that what you will. What was he doing involved in this? As I keep saying, his long Westminster career, dating back to about sort of 1423 or something, he's never once expressed an interest in football hooliganism. So this was the shall we say, the cloak behind which they hid. They said, oh, it's all about we're worried about football violence. But I think what was really going on was this was an Islamic community, or members of the Islamic community, who said, we don't want Jewish people here, we don't want these Israeli fans here. And I think that the West Midlands Police, rather than capitulate to that, should have said, and rather than saying, oh, well, we can't guarantee the safety, they should have made it their sacred duty to preserve the right, the human right, of football supporters to come and watch their team, be they Jewish or anybody else. The fact that they banned those fans, I think, was because they were Jewish, because they were Israeli, and they knew that would be incendiary to the local Islamic population. But because of that, they should have let those fans come, and that really was the backdrop. That obviously Jewish people are very upset about this. Anybody who opposes anti-Semitism should be upset about this, because in the end, that decision, I'm not accusing the West Midlands Police per se of being anti-Semitic, but the undercurrent of that decision was anti-Semitism, was Jew hatred.
Yeah, it's a blatant act of anti-Semitism, and it's also this misunderstanding of what it means to protest. So, essentially, a protest is levying pressure. The fact is that the police are now confusing pressure to, as soon as we have a protest, just give them whatever they want. So you should have a protest outside of the stadium, that's absolutely fine. However, the police have their right to make sure that Jewish people feel safe within the majority Muslim community.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, rather than just say, well, you know, it's all a bit too much, so best thing to do, just ban them. No, they should have made it their #1 priority to preserve the basic right of football fans to come and watch their team. And as I keep saying, I've got this suspicion that if it was Palestine United or Gaza Albion, if they had fans that were renowned for violence, they would have been allowed there. And this narrative that the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans are, hooligans, are violent. Yeah, there is definitely a caucus of them who are troublemakers, but their problem is, and this is what happened in Amsterdam when they arrived there, their problem is this: they do actually get set upon by pro-Palestine supporters everywhere they go. Unfortunately, they have a tendency to fight back. However, it was just wrong that they were banned from going to that match, wasn't it?
Yeah, and also with the Muslim community as well, them levying the stories elsewhere is just a demoralization tactic to kind of play this sort of militaristic Jewish community that it isn't. Yeah, Jews are typically in the UK one of the most integratable communities. They're very peaceful, they contribute well to the economy. So to portray these people as some sort of people that were going to attack the Muslim community is something which we would see in 1945 Germany, where you kind of portray these people as demoralized community that would go against the native population, which of course isn't the case.
I interviewed actually a couple of days ago, and just now, 7 o'clock, just as the show began, a guy called, are you aware of Ahmed Yacoub?
I've been speaking to him on Twitter. He's an interesting fella.
Yeah.
That's a polite way of putting it.
Yeah. He's my new best friend. Now, he was one of the organisers of this, and the other night he said to me, I said, well, isn't this just Jew hatred? Isn't this just anti-Semitism? He said, no. He said, Kevin, what you don't understand, that it is sacred for Muslims. We're not allowed, we're not permitted to be anti-Semitic. And I said, oh, really? What about those Muslims who belong to Hamas, who invaded Israel on October the 7th and massacred 1,200 innocent Jews? Didn't you think that was a tad anti-Semitic? But he wouldn't have that. He didn't, he didn't accept that. But he said, yes, I can't be anti-Semitic. It's sacred to my creed. So we got footage of him last night, standing there with a loud hail, a big crowd going, death, death to the IDF. I said to him, don't you think that was, a tad on the anti-Semitic side? He said, no, I'm just calling for the dismantling of the IDF. So I said, well, why didn't you say dismantle the IDF? Why did you say death to the IDF? You are aware that's a crime. You can't incite violence like that. He said, no, it's not a crime. What do you think? Do you think Ahmed Yacoub is anti-Semitic?
I think he's anti-Semitic, and I also think he's dishonest. So firstly, his initial point, and I actually watched your interview, like a lot of Muslims are also drug dealers. That doesn't therefore mean that they're upholding their religion. Islam, in the way that it's taught in terms of a community-based system in the mosque, kind of has their imam being this infallible deity, whatever he says politically goes. So they are now portraying Jewish people, as I said before, as being a militaristic force against their community. So many people hold anti-Semitic tropes because they're kind of indoctrinated in believing so. I'm not arguing that their religion teaches this. However, socially right now, Islam is harboring this anti-Semitic behavior. Secondly, on the act of dishonesty, his campaign, and if you look at UK Aesthetics, for example, a Twitter page that I regularly follow, it is him with a poster, a voice for Gaza, even though he's running in a constituency in Birmingham, right next to a derelict building. Point being is that he's trying to tether himself to a foreign conflict that British people don't really talk about, besides from the fact it's slammed down their throat on every street in the UK right now. And he's using that to collect people from the left. If you look at your party, for example, that had that whole thing about transphobia, because they're socially conservative.
Party, capital Y.
Yeah. There's socially conservative Muslims who believe sodomy and transgenderism is a sin. Them going with the left who kind of celebrate that fact. So it's dishonesty and it's anti-Semitism, and it's set to implode. Like we saw on the streets, they only had like 300 people, even though on social media they advertised an attendance of over 3,000.
They actually, in the build-up to it, because we our friend Ahmed Yaqub was all over TikTok saying 300,000 pro-Palestine supporters will be converging on Birmingham. We will bring Britain's second city to a standstill. I said to him, were you a little disappointed that instead of 300,000, 300 turned up? No, I wasn't. And my theory, and I tell you what, do you know one of the problems they had? I mean, sort of protests never work as well when the weather's not good, so it's a sort of coldish night, so there's always that. It was the final of Traitors. And I bet you that a lot of the people that he hoped to, I mean, I'm talking about Muslims as well, the Islamic community, they're all watching the BBC, they were watching Traitors. So it does kind of prove, doesn't it, or it certainly indicates that the loudmouths like Ahmed Yaqub and the people who turned up last night, I mean, they're not really representative of the Muslim community en masse, are they?
No, and in fact, a lot of people don't like these spokespersons for Islam. I've dealt in Speaker's Corner where a lot of people look down on the Muslim spokespersons because it portrays them in a bad way. Most Muslims are perfectly integratable into this society, so when you have this sort of rebellious figure saying, no, we're anti-establishment, we want to topple this government, of course they're not going to like it, because then they're all larbored in the same group.
Yeah. Do you know what he was saying to me the other night, Pete? Did you watch the one I did tonight, or did you watch the... I don't know if you saw the one I did earlier in the week.
No, I didn't.
We'll get a copy of it. He starts saying to me... he starts saying, well, I'm just shocked at your views, you know, an Irishman like you, born and bred in Ireland, you know, you should be, you know, rebellious in your nature about the English suppressors and all this. I said, listen, mate, you know, I'm called Kevin O'Sullivan. My grandfather was Irish. I said, I think I've been to Ireland 3 times.
Yeah.
But the reason I tell that story is that people like Yaqub, Mr. Yaqub Ahmed, he's my friend now, I must call him Ahmed. I know you've been fighting with him all day on Twitter. There's something quite likeable about him. He's so sort of comical. But people like him and these rabble-rousers, they see everything through the prism of race. So he sees someone like me called Kevin O'Sullivan and thinks I must be some kind of Irish agitator, you know, anxious to overthrow the English tyrants. You know, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and my sort of goal as an activist and also a journalist is to outline 2 problems. Firstly, in terms of turning point young people in terms of wokeism, and secondly, in terms of people that look at politics through a racial and religious lens, and that's predominantly from the Muslim community. Yeah. I think being British, we can kind of evaluate on an independent basis, considering on your values and what you contribute to this country. And people who focus on a foreign interest in a foreign language and paying little homage to the country that they benefit off, I would never consider them to be British. And I would also say a lot of these movements here boil down to anti-Semitism.
Yeah, I think we have a massive problem with anti-Semitism in this country. We've been playing, we better go to break in just a second, but we've been playing, I don't know if you've seen this remarkable old guy, he's a 100-year-old war veteran. He went on to ITV this morning, and the 2 hosts are treating him like a child. Oh, is it nice? Isn't it? Is it lovely to be here with Remembrance Sunday? Did you? And he basically said that he feels that the sacrifice that he made. He said, well, I'll tell you what. We'll play you it in a minute. But he said the sacrifice that I made and all my friends who died made, he said it wasn't worth it. He said, I look around the country now and the freedom we fought for has gone. It's remarkable. Let's go to break and we'll play Thomas that afterwards and see what he thinks about it.
Big news coming this December. Our talkTV app is moving to the Talk app. You can watch, catch up and listen to all your favourite shows and podcasts anytime, anywhere, all on the Talk app. From Monday, 1st of December, the talkTV app will no longer exist, so don't miss out. So head over to your App Store or Google Play and search Talk now.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Here you go, check this out. This is from Dave. Give young Bob a job. I think that's it. Bob a job. That's got a ring to it, hasn't it? This is Ben in Derbyshire. I've been watching young Bob for months now. I had no idea his name was Thomas Moffat. That's on la 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 la. I hope he has a successful career in politics and running this Christian country. Ian says, this young Bob is very good for someone who's only 17. He gets my vote. This is from Karen in Taunton. Wow, more sense out of a 17-year-old than the whole government. This is Ali in Sidcup. Can you give young Bob a regular slot, please? We're working on it, Ali. There you go. I don't know what you think about this. I'm going to read it to you. This isn't well put, but it's quite funny. This young man, this is from, there's not a name on it. This young man is definitely the love child of Nigel Farage, Ben Habib and Rupert Lowe. That's not that well put, really, is it? Future, but I think that's a declaration of admiration.
Yeah.
Future Prime Minister, it says here.
Yeah, it's because you understand the three problems that have gone wrong is the police don't understand what it means to police anymore, you know, and the government's idea of how this has all gone wrong to fix it is if we just don't stop talking, and integration is done by just being nice to people. Once you get that into your head that all of it is terrible, you know, a lot of the decisions that have been made by successive governments start to make sense, so you end up why we're in the situation we are in. You know, for you to get that at that age, I know professional politicians that will never understand that.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking more sense, as that correspondent said, than this government could put together. Well, listen, have a look at this, Thomas. This is a guy who appeared, as I said, his name is Alec Penstone. He's 100 years old, fought in the Second World War. Have a look, and I think you'll get the point.
My message is, I can see in my mind's eye there was rows and rows of white stones of all the hundreds of my friends and everybody else that gave their lives for what? The country of today. No, I'm sorry. The sacrifice wasn't worth the result that it is now.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
What do you mean by that, though? At this point?
What we fought for, what we fought for was our freedom. We find that even now it's darn sight worse than what it was when I fought for it.
So what they fought for, Thomas, Alec and his brave friends, many of whom died, laid down their lives for this country. What they fought for was freedom. What they also fought for was against genocidal anti-Semitism, was against the Nazis, the murderous Jew-hating Nazis. That's what they fought against. But they fought for freedom in this country. He's saying that he looks around the country now and he thinks it wasn't worth it because the freedom they fought for isn't here anymore, that it's gone. And I think what he's referring to is the kind of woke tyranny. Thou shalt not say this, you cannot do this. I think he's talking about some of the ethoses that are imposed upon us, you know, trans ideology, LGBT. I've got nothing against any of these things, but it's as if they're all somewhat oppressive, that the Britain that he fought for, he doesn't recognise today. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I saw with a lot of left-leaning commentators that they give this argument that if we take the right wing that it is today, the soldiers that were fighting in World War II would be fighting against them. However, Antifa and progressive politics has actually been leaving the political climate in such a state that if you look at statistically, most soldiers, veterans of World War I and II, do not appreciate the state of the country that it is now in. So Antifa, the supposed anti-fascist organizations, Stand Up to Racism, different Palestinian organizations, they're all contributing to the degradation of this country through importing sectarian politics and divisiveness. Of course, we talk about what they fought for. The main antithesis of what it means to fight is to conserve your family, conserve your history, conserve your heritage. Now, this sort of Marxist understanding of history, that it is always better to progress, it is always better to have this extreme understanding of just moving forward always without actually having any critical thinking behind it, is what actually led the country in such a state that this poor veteran now believes it wasn't worth fighting for.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what he said. So, looking at Britain today, looking at our government, looking at their causes célèbres, you know, Brexit or getting back into Europe, the net zero obsession, you know, the various the wokery. What would you like? What would you like to see done to this country to improve it? Because a poll has just come out saying that Brits have never felt more divided, never felt more unhappy, and never felt less proud of their country. Somebody said you'll be a future Prime Minister. Suppose I made you Prime Minister tomorrow. Wouldn't be a bad idea, would it? What would you do?
So firstly, the reason why everyone believes that the state of the country is as it is very artificial. I still think we live in a great country. It's just that we live in such a divisive time, but the right can believe that the left are like Marxists, even though in my personal opinion they're just ignorant about what they believe. And the left can believe that the right are the next generation of fascists, so they believe that who they're against are like these sort of villain types. So the first thing I would do...
So you think the polarisation is artificial?
Yes, I think it is. I think it's through most commentators that actually have a financial benefit through engagement on social media to push this sort of narrative that, especially on the right of politics, we are the next Nazis. So what I would do, the biggest form of multiculturalism in my eyes, especially in education, is ideas. I don't really care about your skin colour. We can discuss about your religion, but your opinions is the biggest form of multiculturalism. So don't put me as Prime Minister in this hypothetical. Put me in a position to dictate.
Young, you know.
Yeah. Put me in a position of education.
Give it a couple of years, eh?
Put me in a position of education, and what I will do is ensure that, firstly, stop fluffing up the numbers of far-right extremism, and actually hold back on any right-wing thinker. I've actually been deferred to Prevent a numerous amount of occasions just for saying things at Speaker's Corner.
You've been referred to Prevent?
Yeah, I've been considered a threat to British democracy because I speak on Christianity and conservatism. So the first thing I would do was roll back on that, because I think that intimidates conservative students from actually believing and saying what they want to do in university.
So, in essence, what you believe is there is a unity out there that could be embraced, but is being wrecked when people like Keir Starmer say Nigel Farage is a racist.
Yeah, so we live in a kingdom where we literally have a tradition of hating one another, and we're still a united kingdom.
Yeah.
So why are we so divided now when historically we were all at each other's throats? Most likely social media. I think there's been a mismanage of terms of young people especially coming out of COVID, because we weren't in education properly. we were prone to such stupid and outlandish ideas, including wokeism, a degree of like militant Islam that was seen as sort of popular amongst young people. So reverting back to universities were built on discussion, debate. I want to bring that home to education, and once ensuring that we can all have this common understanding that we're dignified, in my eyes, in the image of God, however you want to cash that out in terms of we all have this equal moral value. As soon as we revert to that, we can properly have discussions, especially if you look at Prime Minister's Question Time. It's just a boys' night out in terms of shouting at one another who can get the most social cred.
Boys and girls. So, last question, and you've got to come in again, or we'll get you on Zoom or whatever. Come on regularly, really.
Yeah.
I've never seen such love. Young Bob, wow, great booking. Thank you so much for putting Young Bob on. Is your head swelling? Why do you call yourself Young Bob? That's my last profound question.
It's a stage name. Mostly because it rolls off the tongue. What I have realised, especially...
you're young, I mean, I'll give you that, but
what I've realised with like a surveillance state is that if you have your face, they have the name, so I kind of am moving away from that. My name is Thomas Moffat, I'll say it with proud. So yeah, it's just a stage name that came from Speaker's Corner. I'm now very comfortable with using my real name. The left kind of used to, back in like a year ago, use it as like, his real name is this, and I used to be
as
really
if you're
scared.
desperately keeping it a secret, well, listen, Young Bob, Thomas Moffat, thank you so much for coming in. Well, I'm pretty knocked out, aren't you?
Well, yeah, big future. I've heard more sense in the last 35 minutes that I have in 10 years of professional politics.
Yeah.
Genuinely mean that.
Yeah,
and
unbelievable.
I've sat in rooms with some very powerful people,
I mean,
and you know more than they do.
You know, I know you're slightly uncomfortable at comparisons to Charlie Kirk, but you are very much, I think, I would suggest, a British Charlie Kirk, and there is no shame in that. That I couldn't praise.
I knew Charlie as well, and trust me, you definitely are.
I couldn't offer you higher praise, seriously. So, Young Bob, Thomas Moffat, thanks so much for coming in. We better go to break.
across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Pete Barnes and I are still reeling from young Bob, 17 years old. As Pete said, he's not only is clearly an incredibly clever young man, and without a shadow of a doubt, the British equivalent of Charlie Kirk. He has communication skills a lot better than mine. You know?
I mean, his ability to...
That's not saying much.
His ability to put forward a cogent argument like that is, you know, like I say, I know professional politicians who would dream for that level of skill.
Well,
and I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah, he's going places, there's no doubt about that, and let's hope he achieves some kind of power, because he's got some good ideas there, some really interesting ideas. We will try and get him on regularly. 17, I still can't believe it. God, I think of myself at 17. I couldn't even finish a sentence. Still can't. Right, let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Jeffrey in Barnet. Hello, Jeffrey.
Oh, hello there. I'm glad to see that young lad. He's marvellous. I wished if I had what he's got.
Good. Well, we're all wishing that, Jeffrey. Are you're a 90-year-old veteran?
Yes, and my family come from Birmingham.
Okay. Did you see what Alec was saying? Have you seen that we've been playing the 100-year-old war hero?
Yes, it's marvellous. That's how I feel.
I was going to ask you. It's exactly what I was going to ask you, Alec.
I wasn't in the First World War, but I was in during the Cold War.
And do you feel like Alec that the sacrifice you made and your friends made? Do you feel that looking around you today, it just wasn't worth it?
Yes, because I saw it from Birmingham, because he used to going up there regular. Well, I can't go there now because I've got one or two cousins that live on the outside.
Yeah.
And they told me that, because I want to go and see Grand's grave, which is by Aston Villa.
Yeah.
And she says, well, you've got to make sure you've got tinted windows. Well, I remember when it first started changing in Birmingham.
Yep.
Because it started where they were taking over the shops, and slowly the pubs, I wasn't allowed to go in them either.
You mean you're talking about the kind of Islamification, more and more Muslims? 70% of the local area are Muslims. It's an Islamic 70% area. Well, look, Jeffrey, let me ask you this.
There is one thing. I used to come down, when I used to go from there, and I used to tell my friends what it was like up there, they laughed at me and they said, well, it'll never happen anywhere else. And I used to say, well, they don't want to live in the industrial areas, they want what you got, and they want more.
When you look around Britain today, Jeffrey, do you recognise it? I mean, you go back a long time. In your life, this country has changed profoundly, hasn't it?
Oh, terribly. I mean, eventually it's slowly getting to that neighbourhood, because there was a lady in our church, and one of those people, they parked in the driveway, and she asked him to move, and he says, we don't talk to women. He says, I'll do something what you won't like. Well, I went and I says, well, I'll complain about it over at the mosque. And she says, oh, no, don't. So I waited a week, and I went over, and I asked to see the head cleric. And I says, one of your followers is starting to threaten our people here. And this is in Finchley.
Give me your assessment, Jeffrey, looking around you at Britain today. What is your assessment of it? What do you think is wrong with our country today?
It's finished. It's finished. I can't. It's going to take 100 years to get that back to how it used to be.
Yeah, we'll be lucky because I think we're heading in the wrong direction. When you say, Jeffrey, it's finished, what do you mean by that?
Well, I can't see us getting how we used to be. You know, nice, friendly neighbourhood. I mean, it's getting to the point where you can't go out when it's dark, even, because you're frightened you might get... Do
you feel unsafe when you go out at night on your own?
Oh, I don't. I haven't been for a few years now. I don't go out at night.
Well, I think that's wise. So you live in Barnet, in Finchley, right? Yeah, it's not too far from where I live. Well, listen, Jeffrey.
Well, it's nice talking to you.
Thank you very much for ringing. You ring me any old time. It's good to talk to you as well. And stay safe. And thanks for the call, Jeffrey. Take care now. Jeffrey in Barnet. Well,
what a thoroughly depressing phone call.
Well,
but it's so true of so many people.
Yeah, but I mean, I just think it's you're right. It's disconcerting. It's disturbing to talk to people like Jeffrey and Alec that we saw on the telly as well. But these are people we should listen to.
Yes,
these
definitely.
are people. They know what they are, living history.
And I think that's the big point: is that we don't learn from history.
Yeah.
We haven't learned a thing. You know, the kind of the way in which woke has divided people, and it has done it insidiously, and it's done it ruthlessly.
Yeah.
That's why we're all at each other's throats. That's why we've got ghettoisation, because we've divided and divided and divided, and been told by useful idiots and morons in general that it is our strength. It isn't. Unity was always the British strength.
Yeah,
and it's just so sad to see. But the two ways we stop this: scrap postal voting. You take away the power of a lot of those people. And the second one, we break the mosques. The central problem is the power held in these institutions outmatches that of the state and the British culture. And it has to be broken, and we have not been strong enough about breaking the ties back to...
What do you mean by break the mosque?
In other words, we need to know where the money's coming from. We need to know about what are they doing to actually
monitor them
properly. And I mean
properly. And be careful about these hate preachers who still proliferate.
Banned. Why is somebody allowed into the country who thinks that it's acceptable to rape women and treat gay people in the way that they do? Why?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. We have failed to defend our values, and this is what happens. Bad people take advantage of it. And, you know, then we're all suddenly, oh, how did we get like this? Because we didn't defend anything. I go back to the Reagan quote. Freedom isn't inherited, it's fought with every generation. Yeah. And we forgot that. We really forgot that.
So Jeffrey and Alec, they fought for the freedom that we have lost, and we've stopped fighting for it. In fact, we've capitulated to this the increasing crushing of freedom. You're absolutely right. Great call from Jeffrey. Let's go to. Oh, by the way, I should say in about 10 minutes, just over 10 minutes, it's my TV show, What Just Happened, co-starring Samara Gill and Ash Gould. What have we got on tonight? We are going to be Megan's making a movie. We've got Trump and his row with the BBC. Very strong story that. The BBC's in big trouble for splicing together his January the 6th speech on 2021, making it look as if the president called on that mob to storm Capitol Hill. They changed, they spliced it, they doctored it. And he didn't do that. He did the opposite. He said, calm down, everyone. So that's a really big problem for the BBC. We think that the president may sue our state broadcaster, which will be quite a thing. And also Mamdani and the new communist mayor of New York. So lots to talk about on my show, and we do talk about it. So that in about 10 minutes, What Just Happened. That'll go on for an hour, and then it's Ash Gould and Andre Walker. They'll take you through into the small hours, 11 till 1 a.m. And then tomorrow, by the way, What Just Happened, you can watch it tonight. You don't have to, if you're listening, it's radio friendly, so don't worry about that, but it looks great on telly, particularly if you can see me. And that also goes onto YouTube tomorrow morning around about 9 o'clock, 9:15, something like that. And then you can watch it anytime you like. Can't say fairer than that. So 9 o'clock 10 minutes, and then YouTube tomorrow from about 9 a.m. That's what just happened here on Talk. Let's go to break. A couple more calls, and I'll read a couple more messages. And I think we got some SOTs. Have we got any WhatsApp voice notes? I don't know. We'll have a look when we come back.
Big news coming this December. Our talkTV app is moving to the Talk app. You can watch, catch up and listen to all your favourite shows and podcasts anytime, anywhere, all on the Talk app. From Monday, 1st of December, the talkTV app will no longer exist, so don't miss out. So head over to your App Store or Google Play and search Talk now.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on the app, on your mobile, the home of common sense. This is Talk.
Welcome back. An apology on the part of my friend Pete Barnes. He was wearing a poppy earlier, I can assure you of that. It's one of those ones that sticks on, it fell off.
Yeah.
So
and since they got rid of the little green bit, they're just awful.
Yeah.
Another problem of net zero. There you go.
Yeah, net zero's fault. Yeah, he's not making a gesture or a political
absolutely
statement.
not.
He just didn't stick it on properly. Right, let's go. We haven't got too long to go, but let's quickly talk to Pete in Durham. Hi, Pete.
Hi, Trevor. Hi, Trevor. Right.
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, I'm a veteran of 25 years. I'm 54-year-old.
Yeah.
Joined up in 1987, started my process in 1986. boy soldier, went over to the D-Day landings and met most of the veterans of D-Day. It was allied, both German and Allied troops.
Uh-huh.
Very
thank you for your service, Pete. Thank you.
No, you don't ever say that. I enjoyed every moment of it.
But I think we should thank our veterans for their service, like they do in America.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, but my point is that to a veteran today, the way he was spoke to and patronised. I'm
glad you picked up on that, Pete. That's exactly what I said. What he said was extraordinary. It was astonishing. It was so powerful. And those two presenters treated him like he was a kid.
But the other one, the male went...
Adele Ray, that is,
Yeah, what do you mean? He knew what he meant. Look, he's an old man, right? We all lose... I mean, I'm 54 and I've got, mental disabilities. I'm a war veteran, as you call it. I'm a war...
Yeah.
I've got a war pension, right? I live off that, right?
Yeah.
I live out of Whoopsie Isles, right? I live out of Isles that's, marked down with food going out of date.
Right.
I can't afford to shop in normal shops. I can't leave the house. I've never left the house in 2 years. I'm one of the lucky ones.
And you're a veteran. We need to treat people like you better, Pete. Listen, mate, I've got to move on, but keep in touch. Call me again, yeah? And
thanks, Kev.
Thanks, Pete. Take care. Pete in Durham there. Let's quickly talk to Colin in the West Midlands. Hi, Colin.
Hello, Kevin and Pete.
How you doing, mate?
Good to talk to you.
You too.
I haven't spoken to you for a while, Kevin, but this had to get me on. You're talking. You had Bob on.
Yep, young Bob.
And I've got to say, I've followed him for 12 months.
Okay.
I've watched what he does. He is brilliant.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
Yes. you keep on with him. Keep him in there.
I was astonished. Well, Pete Barnes and I were both astonished by him.
He is a light speed thinker.
Yep, that's a good description. That is a good description.
Well, I watched him for 12 months. He can turn people into knots in a debate.
Well, you see, the thing is, I always fancy myself as a bit of a guy with a way with words. I felt like a sort of inarticulate oaf while I was sitting there with him.
Get him, if you can.
No, don't worry, he's going to come back on. Don't worry.
Yeah, he's very good. But get him as an on-groundsman reporter live for you as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So, Colin, let me quickly ask you. You're from the West Midlands, so you're in the Birmingham area. What did you think of what you saw last night around Aston Villa?
I was, before it started, when all the shouting started, Bob was there. He was arrested.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, that's why we got him in.
He was pulled.
Yeah.
And another content creator had to try and get him to come away from the officer. He says, you can't touch him because he's not...
But what did you think generally of what was going on there?
I was shocked. And I was literally shaking.
It's your city. What we saw last night, essentially... I mean, it wasn't too huge, but it was the essence. It was a sort of sectarian war.
I heard the death chants and things, and I'm disgusted and shocked at it.
Yeah,
and
me too.
The police have turned into a bunch of... Why have the police turned into something off Magic Roundabout? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Colin...
Who the hell was Dougal last night?
Yeah, exactly right.
Keep Bob on. Keep Bob on.
We will. Colin, I've got to move on because the show's nearly over. But thank you for a good call. Keep in touch. Just a quick text here from Darwin. Darwin says, very upsetting to see that veteran saying that it just wasn't worth the sacrifice, but it is oh so true. They fought and died in vain. Yeah, that's a terrible thing. Let's we got quickly Tony in Lancashire. Tony, we haven't got okay. We didn't manage to get hold of him there, so well, that's pretty much the end of the show. A big thanks to Pete Barnes, my Friday friend. We haven't seen each other for about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I've been doing all these other shows.
Yeah, I know, yeah. We haven't argued in ages.
Yeah, I know, we didn't argue
We haven't argued.
All right, tune in next Friday. We're going to have a humdinger, I promise you. Listen, thank you very much for your company throughout the week. And it's been a remarkable week, an extraordinary week, and so much to talk about. And topped off by young Bob. I think maybe Just the most astonishing 17-year-old I've ever met in my life.
And a glimmer of hope in a very bad time.
Yeah. Here's Donna from Birmingham says, that war veteran was spot on. How can we be proud of our country when our flags are taken down because they upset foreign people? I'm proud to be English, but I'm embarrassed about how far this country has fallen. Donna in Birmingham. I think that Donna, Alec, the other